you want to know my opinion on what I think, just keep on watching. Hey guys, what's good? It's your girl Nisi here, and I'm back with a new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be speaking on the first black former Miss Lady, Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is touring right now. She's promoting her new book, and she's spoken about her experience in the White House, all those years, and her style, the way she had to dress, and her hair to be exact. So she's in a bit of hot water right now. She's pissed off a group of people, white people to be exact, and some black people, because they're just like, girl, you're capping. And she's just like, when she was in the White House, she couldn't wear braids. Like, she had to straighten her hair constantly. I thought her hair was relaxed, to be exact, but she was like, no, she had to straighten her hair. And a lot of people are like, you had to, because she said she had to fit European beauty standards. So I'm gonna roll this clip, and I will be back with my commentary.
A lot of people want to know, well, what do braids mean? What does she mean? Look, y'all.
What does she mean? It's
what
great.
I mean, that's how white folks are. It's like, what does that mean? What are you saying? We're saying nothing except I just don't want to have to do my hair every day, and I want to go swimming. I don't want to have to worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all.
Yeah, guys, so you just heard that. Now, I can semi agree. I don't agree when she mentioned swimming and the gym. Like, come on, like, especially the gym. Like, I know, like, when you get a fresh perm or relaxer, they say don't go to the gym because, you're gonna sweat out, and then your natural roots are gonna come through. But if that's the case, then you know what I mean? Like, you can't blame that on relaxing your hair. Like, that's you making a choice. You're picking your hair over your health, you know what I mean? Um, Listen, in the UK, so I love swimming. I was doing swimming before I had my last one, and I loved it. I hated it when I had braids because obviously the braids gonna get wet, hair's long. But with my natural hair, I just fitted my hair under the cap and called it a day. One time I went to swimming and the cap broke. I was fuming because my kinky hair couldn't fit underneath it. But over here in the UK, there's a really good brand called Soul Cap, and they make XXL. They make caps for people with locks, really thick kinky hair. I'll put a couple of pictures here. I love their caps. It is pricey, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be paying the prices of regular caps, but it is worth it. So, and they ship worldwide. So come on, you Americas, let's not use that as an excuse when it comes to swimming. Like, just tell them you just don't want to learn to swim and you don't want to go swimming. Now, not her stating this, having straight hair, first of all. And then on top of that, she's talking to Tracy Ellis Ross, who's Diana Ross's daughter, and she's biracial. She has a whole white dad. So the way they're kiki and laughing, and she's like, "They're white people." It's just like this girl in front of you is half white. Like, what are we doing here? Now, I can agree to an extent because I have been in jobs where I've been the only black girl, and then like the white people that I was working with, they were so fascinated with my hair. Guys, if you know anything, if you're new to this channel, first of all, subscribe. But if you know anything about me in this channel, just in my intro, I've got many looks. I'm not just doing that for the intro. That's how I am in real life. So pretty much every week I'll be going into work with a new hairstyle. And some people who I worked with would be fascinated. They're like, oh, did you do it yourself? Especially when I had the braid. Oh, they loved the braids. You know what I mean? And when they be like, oh, how do you change your hair so much? I'll be like, it's wigs. Most of the time I was wearing wigs, you know what I mean? This job, I was waking up 5 o'clock in the morning. So you already know I'm not doing my natural hair every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, come on. I wear my wigs like a cap. It slips on, it slips on, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, to an extent, certain jobs, like well paid jobs, so you're talking like the bank, being a lawyer, a doctor, you do have to wear your hair. It has to be kept in a certain hairstyle. I remember when I worked at one job, they were like, your hair needs to be slicked back constantly, like no hair should be in your face. It was to do with food, you know what I mean? Some jobs you have to wear a hairnet. So I definitely agree. It depends where you work. Your hair does matter, but I just find it funny how they're bare kiki and talking about white people. Like Tracy Ellis Ross is not half white herself, and Michelle Obama has got straight hair in that clip. So in this next clip, she goes more in depth of why she couldn't wear braids in the White House. So I'm gonna play that and I will be back.
Wearing braids was a thing for people.
I didn't wear braids in the White House.
After,
but
no?
even now, oh well,
You returned, right? Now who cares?
yeah,
Right.
now.
But why did you not?
Well, because it was one of those things. Like I remember the second term when I cut bangs. That was every story. I mean, I couldn't even. I'm talking about nutrition. And the article leads with "but her bangs."
Yeah.
You know, so you realize, all right, it's a trade-off.
Distraction.
Do
right?
I want,
Yeah.
while I understand it, do I want that distraction? And when do I want the distraction? It's a strategic move. And, you know, and also to be honest, it's like we were the first. And I was like, first of all, they gotta get used to us.
Yes.
That's right.
Now I could show up with some braids, and now that's all we're talking about. I mean, that's when we did a fist bump with each other, they turned that into a terrorist act, right?
That
It's
was
just like,
Insane.
who needs the hassle? Let me just straighten my hair and get healthcare.
Did you resent that
pass.
at all? Was there any resentment in that? Or-
Was your hair damaged?
No, because
Solid question. That's a good question.
I wore weaves, extensions. I had protective styles because you get your hair done every day.
Right.
And sometimes twice a day if you're out jumping jacks in the rain. I mean, the things that I did, it's like, nope, put some extensions in, or I did all kinds of things. I just kept it. Whatever I mimicked what my hair was, right? But no, there was no way. I would not have any hair on my head if I straightened it as much as I had to straighten it. So I did a little bit of everything. Put a ponytail if I was, you know, but it was all a part of the conversation as a woman, and in the line, it mattered how high my heel was. You know, we had to think about things differently than Barack, you know, and they'd be staffing him. All a man has to do would be like, you taking your tie off? It's casual.
Or the brown. Don't wear brown. Don't wear the brown suit.
That's what I'm saying. They tripped out because he wore a tan suit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, okay, we're in this place.
Right.
You know, we have to prioritize. So I can't say that I resented it. I didn't resent it, but I used it.
Yeah.
I understood what I was doing with it. I made it a point to think about the designers I lifted up and the dresses that I wore, and you know, using young designers, people of color. That was all very intentional. Choosing Jason Wu, who was a young designer, an immigrant, as for my inaugural gowns, was a statement. It was. It was intentional because it was Oscar de la Renta, the old school people that used to dress the first ladies. And I was like, well, why? Why is that? Why do you just get this?
Right.
Why can't we give it to this young person? Because it will actually change his life. You know, Black designers.
Right.
But we did that with art. We did it with music. We did it, the first music series in the White House was spoken word.
Michelle Obama, Auntie Michelle, come to the front, come to the front. Michelle Obama tells white people to get the hell out of our hair, and some white people lose their godforsaken minds. Oh, you know what? This level of pettiness, rooted in authenticity, ring-fenced by truth, and barbed wired with I don't give a rat's ass, is the pettiness I live for. People, and you know, it's not so much what she said, but it is how she said it that really pisses them off. I love it.
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act?
Exactly.
An act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair. Don't tell me how to wear hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't.
Auntie Michelle has jokes. We love to see it. But where is the lie? Where is the freaking lie? Tell me. She's absolutely spot on. Don't tell us how to wear our hair. Don't touch our freaking hair. And enough with your goddamn curiosity about our hair when you've lived side by side with us for centuries. They don't like Auntie Michelle spoke the truth, the sassiness with which she spoke the truth, and the uppityness with which she delivered it. These white people will have you believe that no, this isn't true. It's bullshit. Because if white people were not so in our hair, why are black people and why have black people been fired from jobs for having ethnically styled hair? Why is it that black people are not offered jobs because of their ethnically styled hair? All in the name of it doesn't meet our professional white standards. Why is it that our black children are kicked out of school in the US and in the United Kingdom for wearing ethnically styled hair like dreads, cornrow, and braids? It is because white people want to control how we look, what we say, and how we express ourselves. They think that any form of expression is a form of protest. It is a form of protest because we demand to be us in the beauty and brilliance of our black identity. Can you remember when I said this during my TEDx talk?
Everything seems to be for grabs. Everything about us seems to be called for judgment. Even our hair. You get the, it's not very professional. Or you get the, it's not very tidy. Or get this one. It's just too versatile. You change your hair too much. Are you paying for it?
I see some of you racist dumbasses and racial gatekeeping fools are abusing Auntie Michelle, claiming she's faking victimhood and lying about white supremacy standards on black hair, all on the basis that she was black first lady. Come closer so I can slap some sense into your head. The only reason Michelle Obama is the first black first lady and her husband Barack Obama is the first black president is because of white supremacy. The United States has existed for 249 years, but it took till 2009 for there to be a black president. And we've all seen what white America has done since its first black president. It went MAGA. Let me just explain something to you. The existence of black accomplishment, black success, black growth is not evidence that racism does not exist. It's not evidence that white supremacy does not exist. It is evidence of black resilience, black strength, and black excellence in spite of the racism. Because no matter what you throw at us, we shall overcome.
Yeah, shout out to her. Beautiful. The skin, her face, the hair. Listen, she told no lies. As much as the capping, like, oh, white people, we don't care about what black people do with your hair. Like, yes, you do. She triggered something in me. I remember in high school, yeah, my friend came in with a particular style, so it was braids, but a color. She got kicked out. They kicked her out of the school, so she's not capping, like she's not telling lies. Again, there's certain boys that have come in maybe with high tops or certain fades, locks. They're getting kicked out of school or they can't go to after school club. I remember there was a wrestler who had locks and the referee said he can't play until he cuts off his locks. Like, what kind of fuckery is that? And even the Olympics, shout out to Soul Cap. One of the Olympians was swimming and she was wearing one of the soul caps. And again, the referee said she cannot swim with that swim cap on because usually the white athletes just swim with their hair like they do because they have white straight hair. They can do that. But for black people, the chlorine and the things that they put in the water, it damages our hair. So when I used to go swimming, I used to put bare like olive oil on my hair. So even if the water or the chlorine does touch a bit of my hair, it's protected by all the olive oil, or just put any carrier oil on your hair and it's protected because it will take time for the water and the chlorine to sweep into my hair and into my scalp because I've covered it with olive oil. I put layers. I put olive oil. Obviously, it would be tied down. I'd put like a normal, like one of these little plastic caps on, and then I would put my soul cap on. Like, listen, the swimming one is no joke. Like, we do need to protect our hair when it comes to that. But yeah, for a lot of white people to be coming out and be like, yeah, we don't care. Like, yous do. You as an individual might not, but as a systematic, you do, because it's still happening till today. And I remember doing a video, I think it's with that video I did of Jamaica with the whole baby hairs. If you've not seen it, do check it out. I didn't know there's certain parts of Jamaica and certain schools you cannot have locks. Now, if you know anything about locks, dreadlocks, whatever you want to call it started pretty much in Jamaica, the whole Rastafarian movement. I know a lot of people have got it in Atlanta, in America now, here in the UK, but there's a deeper meaning and a backstory for people in Jamaica. So when my mom told me there's certain schools in Jamaica that will not allow you to go like have locks, or you have to cut off your locks to attend that school, that broke my heart. I was just like, are you being for real? As much as we're like, oh, it's white beauty stand. Why is white beauty standards in Jamaica? Now with the whole baby hairs, I agree with that, because these little kids, these teenagers, they don't need the baby hairs unless it's, the actual baby hairs. But they were talking about the people that wear the wigs. But when I heard that they have to cut off their locks to go to certain schools in Jamaica, that broke my heart, because it's like, why is European white beauty standards in Jamaica? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's bad over there. Like, I see little kids who are like 5 upwards with relaxed hair. Like, why have you relaxed your child's hair at such a young age? Again, I did a video on that. Braiding hair, relaxers are out here causing cancer for black women, or it's like it's hurting us internally, but yet we still do it. Like, it was different before because we didn't know it was hurting us, but a lot of people know what relaxers are about now, what the chemicals are in there, and people still put it on their kids and people still use it. It's mad and it's heartbreaking. So yes, the white beauty standards has got us in a chokehold. Like, let's call a spade a spade.
Hey, Michelle, it's Jill. One of those women that you say straightens their hair just to appeal to the white aesthetic. Have you ever thought that maybe it's just preference? I have 3 daughters, all of which have beautiful, beautiful, curly, very, very curly hair. Some straighten it, others don't. It's preference. It's not a racial divide. And when you are in a position of power, as you are in, and you use that position to further divide a people that should be united as Americans because of their hair texture, it's quite the stance, isn't it, Michelle? The difference between you and I is that I straighten my hair at home, by myself, with my own hairdryer and products. I don't have a whole glam squad doing it for me, dressing me, putting my makeup on, making my hair look perfect because of preference. Just thought that we should meet and that we should have this discussion. And anyone else that thinks this is ludicrous can chime in here too. Maybe it's time to stop complaining and start being grateful for the life you've been given.
Okay, Miss Jill, we hear you. Now, I get it that her daughters have curly hair, but are they biracial though? Because even when white people do have more kinkier texture hair, like a cyclist was passing me the other day, and when I say his hair was thick, he must have some black somewhere in his lineage, because his hair was given like the threes, like 3A, like, so it wasn't really loose or straight. It was quite kinky. I was just like, okay, like, is your pappy really your pappy? Like, but I hear what she's saying. It's giving a bit of jealousy, like, you have a whole glam team. Doesn't matter. My sister, she's an actress and she's obviously got actor friends. A popular soap in the UK, a black girl, deep melanated, she had to do her own hair and makeup. Even though there was a glam team, when she first came on set, they didn't know what to do with her hair. And this is what I hate about hairdressers and stylists. They'll call themselves, yeah, I'm a stylist, da 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 da. And then when it comes to afro or kinkier hair, they don't know what to do. They don't know what products to use, don't know how to detangle it. Like, they don't know anything. So it's like, you can't call yourself a hairdresser. Now, you can call yourself a Caucasian or Asian hairdresser. You just specialize, because different hairdressers specialize in different things. Like myself, I can make wigs, so I specialize in coloring wigs. I'm not the person to lay the hair down and the whole bald cap method. That's not me. Go to someone else. To get your wig installed, go to someone else. But I specialize in like customizing it. So I just feel like that's another issue that we have worldwide. Like you would walk into you like a black person should be able to walk in any hairdressers and that person should be able to do their hair, but that's not the case. So as much as she's like, oh, I appreciate, your experience and what you got because you had a whole glam team, she probably had to bring in her own glam team, like she brought in her own stylist because the original glam team for the White House wouldn't know how to do her hair because they've never had a black woman in that. You know what I mean? Like for those that get it, get it. I hear what she's saying, but because you're not a black woman or you don't have kinky hair, you would never know our experiences. Like not her saying, I straighten my hair sometimes with my blow dryer and products. All right, good for you, Jill. But our straightening takes time. It takes layers, different products. You know what I mean? So.
It was the year of our Lord, 2013. I was a 29-year-old brand new executive director walking into the office of an elder college dean. And I had a fresh off the press, hot as hell, absolutely fire, brand new Rihanna pixie cut. And I walked in and she said, wow, how becoming. So professional. Don't do that other style again. Keep your hair just like this. That other style in question, yes, waist length 1B Kanekalon Senegalese twists. Perfect parts. Grew out to be even better than they were before. I knew I looked fire. Had sat for 14 hours to make sure that I did. And here she come telling me that my hair wasn't good enough for her. But you know what? If that happened to me in the year of our Lord 2013, then that is once again proof that everything Michelle Obama said was right. Now we know that. We older millennials, Gen Xers, those who are elders and aunties to us, we know because we were there. We were there when we ain't have no natural hair care in the stores. Our mamas and our grandmamas were there in the 60s and the 70s when going natural and getting it natural, somebody was going to call you a lesbian because apparently in the black community that was like worse to be than having short natural hair. Yeah, they weren't there, but we were. When we were getting the big chop in college and when out of college, the OG YouTubers came and they were telling us how to do our hair when hair typing wasn't even a thing. And they helped us understand that. And before the big beauty brands co-opted the curly movement, it was the natural movement. And we had to make our own butters and gels and creams. Until, some of our aunties and our friends like the Miss Jessie sisters and Lisa from Carol's Daughter, they got into their kitchens and they made those concoctions and made sure that they were available at major retailers. So now homegirl can walk in with the hair that she's never had be called ugly and find products that are perfectly tailored to her hair. She wasn't there. We were. And I know that it was frustrating to watch her double down and other people double down that this idea of Eurocentric beauty standards is an absolute lie. But if we need to open up the schools, we need to be the schools. Yeah, I know. Gen Xers, older millennials, we got plenty to do. We're in the sandwich generation. We're raising children and parents. We lived through 9/11, multiple housing bubbles, a tech bubble. We lived through the 2000 craze, and we lived through a pandemic. I understand. We got plenty to do that don't involve teaching young people things that they can learn for free. However, you and I both know that that's not how we pass the word. In our culture, in our tradition, we don't rely solely on technology to make sure people get what they need. We teach the songs. We write the recipes on recipe cards. We make sure somebody stands next to us at the grill. We take somebody to the beauty supply store. We show people how to press their hair, how to braid their hair, how to slick down their edges, exactly where to get the bamboo earrings that won't turn your neck green. Right? We write the songs. We write the books. We pass the word. We teach the history. That's how we do. And we probably got very comfortable with our elders being the ones who passed the word to us. But the sad part is that generation is slowing down and some of them are becoming our ancestors. More of them than, frankly, I think we're even ready to deal with right now. So if we are losing recipes, my fellow young aunties, it's because we are the ones who are not teaching them. We gonna have to be the schools. We gonna have to be the institutions. We are going to have to be each other's magnitude and bond. Shout out to Gwendolyn Brooks. So if she didn't know, it's because we ain't teach her. I know we tired, y'all, but these kids got to get an education.
Yeah, shout out to her, and I agree 100. Not that Rihanna Bob, like, yo, Rihanna had the industry, the world in a chokehold. I'll put a picture of her. I remember my sister loves a Bob. My sister got that same hairstyle back then also. Now, for me, I love the twist, them Senegal twist. When she said it, that's why I was like, yes, because I know that's one of my go-to hairstyles when it comes to braids. So for her co-worker or boss to be like, I prefer you with the bob, it's very, only becoming. What do you mean becoming? Like, I'm not here to be saved. This is not church. Like, what do you mean? And this is what I mean. Like, even myself again being like the only black girl in certain spaces, I've had comments like that, like, oh, I prefer your hair like this, Shanice. And I'd be like, that's good for you, but I didn't change my hair or do this hairstyle for you. You know what I mean? I did it for myself. And, the braids will be back next week. Like, don't get too comfortable with this wig or this bob or, you know what I mean? My natural hair, like, because the braids will be coming back. So I agree with her 100. And I like that she spoke on history again, the 50s to 60s. That was more straight, the hot comb. That's where, like, no, I wouldn't say relaxers were pushed more like in the 2000s heavily. So we had like the curl, when they used to curl their hair in the 50s and 60s, and obviously the 70s came the whole afros, the Black Panther movement. So that's when black, we kind of got our power back. And then the 80s and 90s was mostly like box braids, and then like she said, the bamboo earrings, the baby hairs. And then I would say the 2000s, that's when a lot more chicks were like relaxing and coming with straighter hairs. And now you can get all sorts now. Some people who used to be relaxed back in the day have gone natural now. Some people went natural and then they went back to relaxers. Like, it varies, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about black women. You can get any type of black woman, the natural sisters, the ones who wear wigs and weaves constantly, the box braid ones. But I definitely agree. History, we have to keep on teaching. You know what I mean? You can't lose it. And then shout out to the blonde girls, the ones who are bald, the ones who are locked up. Like, shout out to y'all, you know what I mean? But yeah, the high toppers, you know what I mean? There's just a whole variation. The teeny weeny afro ones, there's a whole wide variation. But when it comes to certain jobs, you know what I mean? You won't be able to, you know what I mean? Especially with an afro, certain jobs, you're not like, I've never walked into a bank in the UK and a black woman or a black man's had an afro. You know what I mean? Like, it just wouldn't work. Again, a doctor. I've never walked into and seen a doctor with an afro. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they can't, but you know what I mean? When you think of it's just not professional. And we're not saying it is, it's just the beauty standards. And for one of my coaches, so my daughter, there's like many coaches at work at her job. There's a lot of women of color, which I love. The main coach is white, who owns it, but there's a lot of color coaches there, and there's one light skinned woman who wears her hair in a huge afro, and I love it. I just don't know how she gets it so perfect every session, but you know what I mean. Back in the day, there wasn't black or people of color coaches when it came to gymnastics. It was constantly back to back white. You know what I mean. But shout out to her, and I agree. Like, am I saying every black woman's experienced this in their job? No, because again, it depends where you work. It depends where you are. If you're in London, you're probably not going to experience because it's so black down there. But because I'm up north, I've been the only black girl, and because I'm the only black girl, you're just getting scrutinized, you're getting judged, you're getting watched more than the normal person because hello, you're the only person of color. If anything goes wrong, if anything gets stolen, who's the first person they're gonna look at? Me, you know what I mean? So again, me going into that job, changing my hair every time, I did get my comments and compliments like that. Those backhanded ones. Did some people mean it? Would it be malicious, or some people didn't recognize what they were saying? Like, could be half and half. You know what I mean? Some people did try me. I checked them because I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not scared to check you. I'm not scared to lose a job. You know what I mean? There's other jobs out there. But yeah, she told no lies. And she just made me laugh about not you telling me that those Senegalese twists that I sat down for 14 hours for was an ish. And I love how she stated when it grew out, it looked better than when it was freshly done. Sometimes it does, like when it's old. You know what? In this job that I worked, yeah, I got compliments on my hair when it was ready to come out. People that maybe have not seen me before, or customers, they're like, oh, your hair's nice. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, I'm about to take this out today. And you're like, it's nice. So I definitely agree. Sometimes when it comes to braids, your hair actually looks better when it's ready to come out. Obviously, it depends how you maintain it and, grease it up and whatnot. But yeah, shout out to her. She told no lies.
Michelle Obama said it so eloquently. If we struggle to make it look like the standards, we're then basically going to be spending thousands of dollars and hours of time spent. And literally, when I heard that, I had to pause because, like, damn, she is so right. Because think about it. How many of us have been using protective hairstyles as more than just protecting our hair? If you haven't seen it, Michelle Obama had an interview recently with People magazine, and one thing she mentioned was talking about her hair, and she said basically, like, she didn't wear braids because she essentially didn't think, like, the country was ready for it. In other words, she essentially was like, she didn't want her hair to be a distraction, which is crazy to think, but so true. It's crazy to think the First Lady of the United States, one of the most educated and influential women in the world, still had to think twice about how her hair would be perceived. That's essentially the world we live in, where our natural beauty as Black women has to be managed. Our curls have to be controlled, I guess you could say. And it's crazy, but our style, if you will, have to be approved before they can be accepted. But the truth is, our hair is not actually the problem. It's the pressure that society has placed on it. And as a girly who wore protective styles most of her life until like 6 months ago, protective styles were not just for protecting our hair. It was also about protecting our energy, our time, our peace. Braids, twists, locks, you name it. That's care, that's culture, that's creativity that a lot of other cultures do try to steal, I might add. So when we actually do show up the way that we like our hair to be, whatever look that might be for you, it's not rebellion. It's literally a feeling of being free. It's the freedom of fitting in, because we know what comes sometimes with how our hair is perceived. So depending on how confident we are as women in certain situations determines if we care or not to fit in. Protecting your peace is far more important than fitting in. And truthfully, that is the real definition of protective style.
Yeah, shout out to her, and she made some really good points. I love how she touched on, with her being so educated, and again, she put her own like feelings aside, you know what I mean? She's seen the bigger picture. Because certain Black women, they don't give a F. They're like, again, the ones that walk outside in their pajamas, in their bonnets, the booty shorts. Michelle Obama could have been like that, but the Obamas would have got ridiculed. They'll be like, till today, Trump loves to speak on Barack Obama. He did this and the Obamacare and he did this. If she ever, stepped out in her bonnet, slippers, not being dressed correctly, till today they still would be dragging her. So, you know what I mean? She fought ahead, she's seen the bigger picture. And I wish a lot more Black women would, but again, you have Black women who just don't give a F, you know what I mean? They're just out here. So I agree. I love that she clocked that a lot of our styles they steal and try and rename. The Kardashians, Kim has worn braids a couple of times and then she's called it something completely different from what it is, and it's just like, no, you know what I mean? But a lot of hairstyles, especially when it comes to braids, plaits, cornrows, there's deep meaning, there's history there. The whole during slavery, the Underground Road, like certain hairstyles, even though we had our hair covered, there were certain hairstyles was a way to escape slavery or go up north in America. So it's one of those. But again, locks, it goes back to Jamaica being a Rastafarian. Like, again, there's meaning to it. I know these days people are just doing it because they want a hairstyle. But no, certain hairstyles, there's deeper rooted meanings to it. So yeah, shout out to her. She made some good points.
So, does someone want to tell Michelle Obama? None of us have ever looked at her and been like, wow, you really need to straighten your hair. In fact, I've never looked at another person's hair and thought, wow, they should really straighten their hair. I'm not a cosmetologist. I wouldn't tell anyone what they should do with their hair. It's diabolical, the level of narcissism and, reverse racism that she's showing. And I'm gonna say it because we've never been like, oh wow, you should really straighten your hair. Why are you saying this on live TV? And then people are supposed to want to buy your book. Girl, sit down, go somewhere, because this is crazy. It's diabolical, and I've never thought anyone should do anything with their hair.
Okay, TV, you heard her. She's telling Michelle Obama, go sit down, be quiet, like we don't care. You may not care, and I love that you don't care. You know what I mean? Again, there's certain white people that are like, I don't care what you do with your hair. Sometimes they just see you as a normal person, like they're not watching what you're wearing or how you're acting or what your hair's like. They're the white people I love who don't give a fuck. But then on the other hand, there are white people that are constantly gonna judge you, ridicule you, and be like, "Why's your hair like this today?" So, you know what I mean? Let's keep it. If we're gonna, you know what I mean, talk about it, let's keep it 100. But she makes me laugh that she's like, I've never looked at anyone, especially a black person, and thought, you need to straighten your hair. Like, you know what I mean? I've been around people, doesn't matter what race, if they're smelling a bit funky, I'm like, fam, in my head, I'm not saying it to them, you need to bathe or you need to shower, you know what I mean? So some people, maybe if the locks are like need retwisting or their braids need taking out, or maybe the hair just stinks. Some people will be thinking, right, you need to go and straighten your hair, or you need to go and wash your hair or get your locks retwisted. Like, it's one of those.
So black women, you are a monolith. Michelle Obama said so in her interview with Tracee Ellis Ross. She said that black women have to straighten their hair because they have to fit into white America's beauty standard. This is interesting because she was saying when she was first lady, she couldn't wear her hair in braids or any type of black hairstyles because it wouldn't have been accepted. So she's saying that that was her experience when she was the first lady. The interesting part, the big contradiction was she's sitting in this interview where she's not the first lady and her hair is straightened. So for all of the women who are coming on the internet saying that black people are not a monolith, well, Michelle Obama said you are. She spoke on your behalf. She said black women's hair grows naturally coily out of their head. She said she wants white people to stop asking about their hair, stop looking at their hair, and stop asking if they can touch their hair. All of everybody, don't look at our hair. Don't ask to touch it. No, because the only reason why we straighten it is because we're trying to fit into your America. While she's sitting there with her hair straightened. Yeah. So my question is, who told her when she was the first lady of the United States of America, she couldn't wear her hair in braids? I mean, did someone tell her that? Because how do you tell the first lady how to wear her hair? And I know you guys are going to come in the comments and say it's because of some standard and it's the expectation. And that's why they had to write that Crown Act bill, because black women are always being discriminated against their hair in corporate America, blah, blah, blah. That's not true for me. So what she should have done is she should have spoke from her own experience, from her own perception, her own perspective. What gave her the right to go and have an interview and tell and speak for every black woman who straightens or doesn't straighten their hair? I don't straighten my hair. My hair grows curly out my head and I put it in a braid and it dries and then I flat iron it. I don't blow dry it. But sometimes I wear my hair curly. Look at videos. You'll see my hair curly. I wear my hair straight or curly because I want to. And I was in corporate America for over 30 years. And never once did I not get a job because of my hair. Never once was I asked to change my hair. Never. And I was senior level. I reported to CEOs. So that narrative, I don't know where that came from, but I would imagine it has some validity to it. For sure it does. But everyone's experience is their own experience. So she's saying her experience was she couldn't wear her hair in braids. No one told her that she couldn't, but she couldn't. So that's her perception. But for her to get in an interview with Tracee Ellis Ross promoting her book, The Look, and speaking for all black women, telling people don't look at our hair, don't ask about our hair, stay out of our hair. First of all, that's kind of immature. Second of all, why is she still talking? She has a podcast where she's just like throwing her husband under the bus every chance she gets. Why is she still talking and why are people still listening to her? So for all of the women who want to go on and make videos about how black people and black women are not a monolith, well, not according to Michelle Obama. She says you are. She wants people to stay out of your hair because, yeah, it's not your place. Stay out of your hair. And then she spoke about running for president. Tracee asked her about running for president, and she said that the United States of America is not ready for a female president and to leave her alone. Don't waste her time. First of all, who's asking her? No one wants her to be the president. No one wanted the other one to be the president, the one who was saying she was African-American but really wasn't. Yeah, it's not that we're not ready. We're not ready for people who like to have conversations and spread narratives that create division and separation, because that's what that conversation is. So now all of the black women who look up to Michelle Obama, the younger ones, are going to take what she says for Bible, and then they're going to make that their reality. So they're going to go somewhere and they're going to be like, oh, I didn't get the job, or I didn't get this, whatever it is, because of my hair. I have to straighten my hair to get whatever it is. That's not true. You don't have to. You can wear your hair however you want to. As long as it's neat, who cares? Come in the comments with all the nonsense. I'm here for it. Let me know. Black women, have you ever had any type of discrimination because of your hair? Do you straighten your hair because you want to fit into American beauty standards? Because that would make sense, because y'all spend thousands of dollars on straight weave hair to sew into your naturally coily hair that grows that way right out of your heads. Okay, let me know.
Ooh, wow, wow, wow. Shots fired. Now, I definitely agree when she was just like, not you doing this interview and you've got your hair straightened, like you're no longer the first lady. And on top of that, that I spoke on at the beginning, she's talking to Tracy Ellis Ross, who is half white. So it's giving weird, like, you know what I mean? Like you're literally saying one thing, but you're doing, doing the other. So I agree with that. But for all the other stuff, again, it's her experience. For me personally, she has no reason to lie. You know what I mean? So as much as she's like, I worked in corporate all these years, I've never had to straighten my hair. Okay, that's good, and that's your experience. I've never had to straighten my hair, but I've had to wear it in a certain style. So just take out the straighteners. Sometimes as black women, we have to wear it in a particular style for that job. You know what I mean? But again, there's people that have gone to interviews with their hair a certain way, and the job's been absolutely like nah. Or they will say, yeah, you've got the job, but we may need you to do such and such to your hair, or you know what I mean? I know black women that have never had a weave, never wore a wig, like their natural sisters. I know black women who are locked up. And I know the ones that wear the weaves, the inches bust down, you know what I mean? So again, we come in a variety of different styles, shades. So, you know what I mean? You're gonna get da. So I hear what she's saying about, for the people that don't work in certain jobs, they've still got the you know what I mean, the long bust down weave. And to each its own, in it. Again, I change my hair pretty much. I try and change it every week I come on camera because I like switching up my looks. Sometimes you're gonna see me with braids in the new year. I'm trying to get, you know what I mean? Funny enough, even though I specialize in customizing wigs, I do prefer braids, but because I do my hair myself, I'm a single mother, I haven't got the time to be sat down braiding my hair. So that's why I wear wigs, because it's just easy. It's a quick go-to on and off. But yeah, there was a lot of shade thrown. She came for Kamala Harris, not her claiming she's African American when she's not. Ooh. Hey, the shade. But yeah, she said get in the comments as she wants to hear, and I did jump in her comments, and there were black women in there sharing their experiences, and it's like, yo, there's black women in the army, they've got a way, usually in the army your hair has to be slicked back. You know what I mean? There were people speaking their piece, and then she was just like, yeah, but that's your experience. That's not for every black woman in America. And it's like, yeah, we hear that. Like, we're not saying it's for every black woman in America, but let's keep it 100. There has been a lot of people that have missed out on opportunities because of their hair. But to each its own. You know what I mean? Again, my experience is my experience. I remember my friend getting kicked out of school because of a particular hairstyle. I've never heard of a white girl getting kicked out of school because of her hairstyle. You know what I mean? So it's one of those, and again, it depends on where you grow up and what country, state you are in.
Michelle Obama is getting hated on by black women right now, and it just goes to show, I don't know why black women are just ready to fight, ready to be defensive at every given moment, and ready to find a problem. I think it's beyond black people and black women. This is just a liberal problem as well. A liberal problem right now where everybody finds an issue with every little thing. Every little thing, and it's so exhausting. Everything she said here was factual. You wearing bone straight white hair and wigs is to appease a white beauty standard. Whoop-de-doo. I don't know why that is a shock. I don't know how black women are present. They're still trying to argue that they do that simply because it looks good. We know you're trying to blend in and fit in. And it's not to, but this is the thing. Women can't handle criticism. So the minute you say that, because of the offense, they jump to defense. Rather than just admitting, yeah, look, Michelle Obama is actually being honest enough to say, look, I wear the bone straight hair because I had to fit in and you guys weren't ready for the curliness and the blackness. She was being honest. And it's crazy to me because a lot of you black women, have you ever been in such a high position? Have you ever been? I can't judge as someone who advocates for natural hair and wearing your hair, whatever, in whatever way you want to wear it, but just wearing your hair. As someone who advocates for that, I can still respect the fact that I was not the ex-president's wife running the free world. Like, do you know, and the first black president's wife at that in the US, do you know what she was up against? Like, just, this woman has no reason to lie, no reason to be disingenuous about this. She's a black woman, an older black woman at that. Her experience, she's being very honest. And black women are so hell-bent on defending these wigs that they will lie to themselves and now to you to say, no, it's not that. Why would Michelle Obama, she has nothing to gain from saying it's a white beauty standard. Or it's been pushed because of Eurocentric beauty standards. What the like, this type of this stuff really irritates me. Like, even India Ari got on her, and I was just like, none of you have walked in her shoes as the first black president's wife to even chat her. Put some respect on her name. I feel like as black people were so disrespectful, especially to the women who come before us and all the work they've done. You may not have agreed with everything in terms of Barack Obama and all of that, but you can put some respect on her name. Like, some of you just don't have parents. Some of you were not raised well, because this is so disrespectful. Like, it's just rude. It's so stupid to criticize her for saying something that is objectively true. Do you think if white people ever came in the picture and colonized us and did all that they did, we would be wearing bone straight hair? Or like as the mainstream kind of conventional look? Do you think we would? No one's saying don't wear it. It's just appreciating the origins of it.
Shout out to her, and she told no lies. And even me, I don't get the hate that she's getting. Like, again, like she stated, she has no reason to lie. Now, could she be adding extra sauce to the stew? Yes, but overall, it's her experience. Like, you can't tell someone what was their experience, you know what I'm saying? So I agree with that. Not India Ari, out of all the artists, if you don't know, she's a musician, American. She got ridiculed and, got, what do you call it, like blackballed so much just for her being natural, promoting, good things for the black community having locks. She missed out on a lot of opportunities, awards. So I'll put how she looked back in the day. I think she did cut off her locks, but not her coming for Michelle Obama too. Like, you should be agreeing and understand Michelle Obama more than anyone, because you've spoken on how the music industry treated you because of the way you looked. She's very, very melanated, got, what I mean, had thick locks back in the day. You know what I mean? Shout out to Erica Badu. Is it Baduism? She had locks during that time, you know what I mean? Neon Soul, that whole genre. But she doesn't have locks anymore, you know what I mean? There's so many people, Busta Rhymes, who had locks back in the day. Like, it's a big thing now, but a lot of these artists, people did give them like the side eye, and they didn't get certain opportunities because of their hair, you know what I mean? It's bad enough because they were black, but on top of that, it's because of their hair and how they were. So that's crazy that India Ari's coming. But I feel like the woman that she was speaking on, a lot of black people, how they're coming for her, is like the previous clip, how that woman was going on. And again, like I stated, I went into her comments because I was just like, rah. And a lot of people were sharing their experiences, like I've shared mine. And she was like, exactly, that's your experience. And it goes back to, if you've ever been racially profiled, some black people will say no. If you live in a predominantly black community, you're never going to get racially profiled because you live amongst black people. Obviously, because I'm up north compared to like my cousins down south, London, I have been racially profiled and been attacked before. One major time, you know what I mean? And it was mad because it wasn't even far from my house. It was outside my college. Grown old white men were attacking me, monkey noises, sounds, and all that stuff. Nothing physical, but you know what I mean? Was just shouting racial slurs at me. But I remember with Lil Wayne when he did that whole lyric talking about Emmett Till, rest in peace. And the whole George Floyd, just all the things that happen in America, and people are like, Lil Wayne, like, why'd you never speak on black issues and stuff? And he's like, I've never been racially profiled, which is mad because he comes from Louisiana, but that's his experience. Who are we to tell him what his experience was? You know what I mean? So again, some people have never been followed, like in a store or whatnot, never been racially profiled. It literally all depends on your area and where you go and who you're with and how you look, because again, we're constantly being judged. So shout out to her, and I agree with what she said.
Nobody hates on white people more than Michelle Obama. Here's her latest, talking about hair.
Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the...
So she's suggesting here that only white people set beauty standards. I call some bullshit on that. And two, white people are trapping black people because they straighten their hair. The racism and the divisiveness coming out of her mouth never ceases to shock me. None of the black people that I personally know feel trapped because of the way they decide to style their hair. So I am genuinely curious, are there any black people out there that are feeling trapped and oppressed because they straighten their hair or feel like they have to straighten their hair? Anyone? Just drop it in the comments. I'm curious.
Not Michelle Obama hating on white people. I'm with that black woman before when she was just like, she's always dragging her husband on the broadcast now. Yeah, she does go in a lot on Barack. And it reminds me how Jada Pinkett Smith is with Will Smith, just forever just going in and dragging my man. It's just like, like, are you lot? So when Jada Pinkett came out and said, yo, me and Will have been separated for 8 years, I wasn't surprised because literally every chance Jada gets, she's always dragging Will. So I feel like Barack Obama and Michelle are probably separated, but they've just not officially come out and confirmed it.
About it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair?
You know the craziest part about this video is probably so many women, black women or whoever, who was agreeing with everything that she was saying, but y'all are not listening to exactly what she's saying. So basically, for example, if a man or whoever, black man like myself, say something like, I prefer a woman naturally, you know, her natural hair because it's beautiful. Beautiful black women should embrace themselves more, you know what I mean? I've even said myself that sometimes when certain women, you know what I mean, wear certain hairstyles, it's like, what are you doing that for? It's for myself, it's for this, for this. But then, yeah, somebody like Michelle Obama will say, we do this for y'all, for them, for the white people. So y'all do this for white people? Because if a man or whoever else say something about it, we don't do this for nobody else. We don't do this for men. We don't do this for nobody. We do this for ourselves because we want to. Which one is it? So before you agree with everything she said, yes, girl. She just said y'all do that for white people. Somebody gonna say I'm missing the context, but are you hearing what she's saying? Now let's be rational. Let's be fair. What things that she was saying, like a lot of things she was saying was kind of true, or it could be true at a certain point. Yes, there are women who are black or whatever. They might get a silk press or whatever. If they go to the gym, they don't want to get it all, you know, wet or like, you know, sweat, because it will curl up. Those things happen. A lot of black women don't want to swim. Why? Because they just got some braids, they got their hair done. You know how girls be. Some girls just go to the pool, take pictures, put their feet in the water. They ain't gonna put their whole body in the water. You know how that go. With that being said, there's a lot of black women who can't swim. Come on now. Yes, there's been the Crown Act and all that. Yes, there have been times where a school district or somebody will send a kid home for like very strict reasons, which I do not agree with. It's freaking hair. Let a kid wear a hairstyle. That ain't affecting nobody. With that being said, this is what we be talking about. This is what certain people be talking about. Me personally, I think a lot of beauty standards, no matter the race, no matter what type of woman you are, I feel like a lot of that is like brainwashing. You know how better the world would be if we didn't have all these standards and beauty standards and all this bullshit? How long are we gonna do this, bro? How long are we gonna keep doing these things, bro? It's like we keep on dividing and doing all these other stuff. Why? And first of all, why would we be worried now, 2025, about what other people think about our hair, bro? If anything, black people, we care about our hair more than any other person. You can't even speak on a black woman's hair at all. This is what some black women have said on the internet. Why? Because it's a sensitive topic. I'm so tired of it. We have to admit, bro, a lot of our women, bro, not our women, a lot of black women, bro, they have insecurities when it comes to their hair, bro. And I understand a lot of women have certain struggles with their hair. I'm not saying that's not the case, because that's the case. A lot of women who are black have certain struggles with their hair. A lot of black women have good hair, great hair. It's just weird what she was saying. And before you disagree with me, whatever, don't get butthurt and try to say something in the comments. I'm gonna make another video of somebody else explaining this better than I am. You know what I'm saying? Just wait.
Yeah, shout out to him, and I agree with the most part. You know, he spoke on children getting sent home like it's just hair. I've never understood that. Again, my friend, when she got sent home, they were like, "Oh, her hair's too distracting." For who? Like, you can't say it was too big that it would be blocking another student. Because if that's the case, just stick her at the back, and she can still remain in school. Like, it was mad. Now, you know, with braids, you've sat down all those hours, you've paid to get it done. So my friend, she missed about 2 weeks of school because she was not taking it out. You know what I mean? So it's stupid. So I definitely agree when he spoke on that. Now, when he spoke on Michelle and, you know, the whole swimming and sweating out your hair, there's ways around that now. So again, if you know you're getting your hair done, then obviously you're not going to the gym. So to each its own, in it. Like, I've got my dookie braids underneath my wig. When I go to the gym, I take off my wig so I'm not obviously messing up my wig. But he made me laugh, and he's like, "So you lot are out here doing your hair for white people, but when he acts as a black woman, they're like, I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my, you know what I mean? Like with myself, I change up my wigs because I want to. I do it for myself. I could come on YouTube for the whole of this year and just stay with this wig. It's up to me because it's my choice. You know what I mean? But I agree. As much as women are like, I'm doing it for myself. It's the same with BBLs and getting their body done. They're like, I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it to get no man. Come on now, let's call a spade a spade. So certain hairstyles, they do it for the opposite sex, or they do it for certain group of people. Listen, with me dating, yeah, I've been on a date with a non-black, and he prefers me with my natural hair. And I just feel like when he said that, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so refreshing, because I've predominantly been with black men, Nigerian to be exact, and I don't know, maybe it's because they're just used to the wigs, like they're used to wigs, braids, but I've never had a man be like, I prefer you without the wigs, I prefer you with your natural hair. So it's so refreshing, and just, yeah, it was nice, you know what I mean? But again, because of the climate and where I live, I only tend to wear my natural hair in the summer. It'll break off. If I was trying to wear my hair in the winter, it would break off. So by the time summer comes, I wouldn't have much hair left. You get? But no, he made some good points. When it comes to black hair, are women insecure, insensitive? Is it a touchy subject? Absolutely. As much as certain black women be like, no, no, it is. Like, please, again, there's history behind it. You know, during slavery, we had to cover our hair because it was too much of a distraction. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is a touchy subject. But I agree with him. Like, let's call a spade, and let's.
So I just came across this video of Michelle Obama talking with Tracee Ellis Ross, and I find it offensive and racist. Let's take a look at it.
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim, and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting, and it's so...
So you're blaming white women because you have to straighten your hair? First of all, it's not just white women who have straight hair. It's Asians and Latinas, most of them, and Middle Easterners and Mongolians. The majority of individuals on this planet have straight textured hair, but you had to single out white women because you're a race baiter? I can't think of any other explanation. Did you forget that your husband's half white and your kids are a quarter white? Did you forget that the majority of people in this country who were white voted for your husband twice to keep him in the White House 8 years and made you first lady for 8 years? No white women are saying, oh my God, Michelle Obama has to straighten her hair. They don't care if you straighten your hair or not, okay? No one's telling you to straighten your hair. Don't do it. No one's telling you, no white woman's telling you to straighten your hair, Michelle. Nobody. I highly doubt white women are sitting at home saying, oh, Michelle Obama has to straighten her hair. Oh, she can't have that. She can't have natural hair. You were born with free will, Michelle Obama. Free will. You're a strong black woman. You've said it in the past. Let your curly, textured hair come through. Nobody's telling you to go out and get relaxers, straighteners, or irons to straighten it. No white woman saying that.
Ooh, child, the way that video just took a turn, and I'm not gonna lie, he kind of ate with that clapback. I was like, at certain points, I was like, okay, sir, how could I forget her whole husband? Like, she has a whole white mother-in-law. Barack Obama has a white mama, so yeah, when he was talking about her lineage, like, listen, your husband's half white, your kid's a quarter, like, what are you talking about? Told no lies. And again, she's speaking on this to Tracy Ellis Ross, who has a whole half white side, a white daddy. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? If you really cared about this whole black, you would keep your lineage black. You know, you would have married a full black man. So I agree with that. But everything else, it's just like, you know, like white people or white women are not at home thinking, oh, Michelle Obama needs to straighten her hair. Now, sir, you know, like I know, if she ever had an afro in the White House, you lot would drag her and ridicule her. Not just white people, black people too. Like, look how they did Blue Ivy when she was a baby. They used to be like, oh, Beyonce and Jay-Z need to do that baby's hair. Like, she got dragged. They used to compare her to Northwest, who's biracial. Like, you can't compare a full black child to a biracial. Like, that don't make sense. Everything's different. The complexion, the hair type, the upbringing, like, it's stupid. Apples and oranges, you know what I mean? So as much as it's like white women do not care, you do a bit. Again, Meghan Markle, I thought she was a whole Latino woman. I was shocked when I found out her mother was black. She straightens her hair. I've seen throwback pictures when she was younger. She's got beautiful curly hair, but she would never walk around Buckingham Palace at the time or when she was in the UK with her natural hair. Like, again, the newspapers over here dragged her anyway, but can you imagine if she ever came out one day in her natural state? They would drag the hell out of her. So as much as it might not be white women, it's white European standards. And as much as he's like, oh, why is she just saying white people? Why is she not saying like Asian women, Latino women? Because no shade to them, they don't have the power that white people, like, it's a man's world, it's a white man's world. Like, you lot have the power. Whatever you guys put in place, it goes, you know what I mean? There's loads of bill acts in America. Guess who wrote them? White men, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? She's not gonna come on and talk about the Latin or the community. Like, American is not a Latin country, it's a white man's country. You know what I mean? It used to belong to the Native Americans, but you know what I mean? It's a white man's country. So why is she gonna come out and be like Latin American beauty standards? Like, you know, in the Dominican Republic and all those Latino like countries, yeah, they have their issues and their problems, but today we're speaking on America / the UK, because the UK follows America, you know what I mean? So certain points I could agree with him, but yeah, let's still keep it real, you know what I mean? Like, there was no way she could ever be in that White House with an afro. Again, let me know in the comments, have you ever walked into a bank, a hospital, and you've seen like a doctor? I'm not talking about a nurse, or, you know, I'm talking about a high level doctor with an afro. I've never walked, because if I walked into a bank and seen a person serving me with an afro, I'd be like, I would compliment them. I'd be like, okay, I have like a, you know what I mean? This is out of the norm, you know what I mean? Even locks, maybe in London because it's more black, but I don't even think I've ever seen a black man with locks in the bank. So, you know what I mean? It just goes to show, like, we've come far, but we've still got so far to go.
In an interview, Michelle Obama said that Black women have straightened their hair for generations due to white supremacy. And the fact that some Black women are disagreeing with her tells me that a history lesson is long overdue. A woman on Threads tried to correct the forever first lady by saying that the black women who do straighten their hair do it because it makes it easier to manage and it has nothing to do with white beauty standards. Sis, convenience is the modern explanation, not the origin. There are literally laws today that protect black people from discrimination because of their hair. The Crown Act wasn't passed because of vibes. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, aunties, etc. were told that their hair was unkempt, unprofessional, wild, unruly, etc. Let's be real, straightening our curls was not a beauty preference, it was survival. And even with my looser curls, the kind that's quote unquote acceptable, I still felt pressure to keep my hair straight so it wouldn't be all over my head or whatever that even means. Black women learn very early on that our hair sends a message before we even open our mouths. So yes, today black women do straighten their hair because they want to, but let's not pretend that that choice exists in a vacuum without hundreds of years of white beauty standards being forced upon us. That's not empowerment, that's historical amnesia. Because black women don't owe anybody a seminar, but we do deserve honesty about where these beauty norms come from. I'm Michaela Ian, and that's The Cultured Take.
Yeah, big up to Michaela Ian, and I love that, and I agree with everything. Like, again, this history behind it, it is sensitive when you speak on women, black women's hair. And I do hate it when you do get the white people. Some white people, yeah, they don't even think to ask you. They're just touching, like, I remember when I had my, like, they would just touch my braid, and it's just like, you wouldn't do that to a fellow white person. You wouldn't touch their hair if it was curly, crimped, whatever, braided. You wouldn't touch it. So why do you just feel like you could just touch my hair, like? And then you have the ones like, oh, can I just touch? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. But yes, there's history behind it. There's a deeper meaning. You know what I mean? You know, there's that whole bedhead where certain white girls just wake up and they just put in a scrunchie and go, us black women, we cannot do that. You know what I mean? Like, we have to get the slick brush, get some gel for some people, get the water because you need that moisture and slick that beat up and go. You know what I mean? And if you want to be extra, then you do all the baby hairs and the swirlies and whatever. But no, she told no lies. There's history behind it. So for the ones that don't agree and are like, oh no, I just put on the wig because it's time consuming, like to change up your looks. But still, there is some deep rooted history behind it. Like, please, let's call a spade a spade. And a lot of black guys are like, you know, when there's the whole debate about wigs, and they're like, okay, if you like to wear wigs, why do you not wear like the kinkier, you know, the yucky, the curlies, you know, the ones that are similar to your hairstyle? Because a lot of black women do get the straight, then curl it or crimp it, you know what I mean, and then do all that stuff. And it's true, like, why don't we get more textures that are very similar to our hair? You know what I mean? But yeah, shout out to her. I love the backstory and the history. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But yeah, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one.